This is a song I learned from a friend of mine for whom I have great respect. He's really very ill at the moment, a man called Dick Gockham. And this song is called Victor Jara. Victor Jara of Chile, he lived like a shooting star. He fought for the people of Chile with his songs and his guitar. His hands were gentle, his hands were strong. Victor Jara was a peasant. He worked from a few years old. He sat upon his father's plough, and he watched the earth unfold. His hands were gentle, his hands were strong. And when the neighbors had a wedding, or one of their children died, his mother sang for them all night, with Victor by her side. His hands were gentle, his hands were strong. And he grew to be a fighter against an evil's wrong. He listened to their grief and joy, and he turned it into song. His hands were gentle, his hands were strong. Oh, he sang about the copper miners and those who worked the land. He sang for the factory workers, and they knew he was their man. His hands were gentle, his hands were strong. Oh, he campaigned for Allende, working night and day. He says, take hold of your brother's hand, the future begins today. His hands were gentle, his hands were strong. Well, the generals, they seized Chile, they arrested Victor then, and they caged him up in the stadium with 5,000 frightened men. His hands were gentle, his hands were strong. And Victor stood in the stadium, and his voice was brave and strong. He sang for his fellow prisoners till the guards cut short his song. His hands were gentle, his hands were strong. Well, they broke the bones in both of his hands, they beat him round the head, and they tore him with electric shock. After 2 long days of torture, they shot him dead. His hands were gentle, his hands were strong. Now the generals, they still rule Chile. and the British had their thanks, for they ruled with Falkland on terms, and they ruled with chieftain tanks. His hands were gentle, his hands were strong. Victor Hart of Chile, he lived like a shooting star. He fought for the people of Chile with his songs and his guitar. His hands were gentle, his hands were strong. His hands were gentle, his hands were strong.